Treacherous down there. We're expecting to see more rescue workers here tonight.
As I understand it from those who are at the scene, they feel that there is a treacherous situation quite clearly, and they feel that tonight is going to be a very busy night for them, and we are standing by for any help that we can offer.
Thank you so much, Mark. So there you heard it. It's some bad news we have for you, more bad news, with 13 rescue workers that have been brought here in the past hour, and one of those seriously injured. I'm going to give you some other numbers that aren't very hopeful. We have 511 now here at St. Vincent's. In the entire system, 803, and 108 of those are rescue workers. But one good thing that is happening here, and it is so refreshing, we've got a huge group, and you can't see them right now, but there's a huge group of people standing behind the camera, and this is the main thoroughfare down to Ground Zero. This is 7th Avenue and 6th Avenue, and basically what happens is all the trucks that come through here, whenever a firefighter truck or any sort of rescue workers come through here, we have a huge applause, and it just sort of refreshes everybody here all the time.
Find out, do or die, whatever it is I have.
631-732-0956. This is Sean Lynch. Sean worked on the 105th floor. At 8:50, he called his wife right after the first plane hit. He said he loved her. He was all right, but he could not get down because he was above where that plane hit. Now, he's the father of 2, and his wife is 8 months pregnant. So please, if you have any information on Sean Lynch, please call 973-451-1575. That's 973-451.
I would say they are
theft is relatively easy.
I absolutely fundamentally agree with you. Again, I mean, the patriotism that people feel is not
floor. He also called his wife right after the first plane hit to say that he was okay, but he hasn't been heard from since then. He lives in Manhasset, Long Island.
And this is what it looked like by late afternoon.
It was each day and here.
But we know she's there, so we're just, getting her face out there so everyone can find her.
And training these kinds of people. Certainly Afghanistan, Syria, Libya, Iran, Iraq, those 5 countries
down there who want to somehow participate and be part of this.
Yes, and everywhere we're told, I was just told,
that their loved ones may be out there somewhere. So they're out too, posting pictures on phone booths, mailboxes, at the entrance of buildings. And after all, more survivors were rescued from the bloody rubble of the Twin Towers today. Maybe the answers are on this list. It's been pulled from the internet. Its accuracy is unknown. But it claims to contain information on the condition of many victims of the plane attacks.
Please don't give up hope.
This woman says she actually did find out her missing brother is alive by seeing his name on this list.
He's injured, but we found him.
Lorraine Browse has also been given a grain of hope. She's learned from the company.
So please, if you have any information, his family
have been lost and are still missing. And earlier today, ABC's Connie Chung sat down and talked to the CEO of that company, and we wanted very much.
You would know what you're looking
to do that, because they are creating a very serious and dangerous situation for people. Because in this atmosphere, when you make a bomb threat and people find out about it, people become very emotional, they become very nervous. They have
2109. Once again, that's 212.
This is a warning. People who think it's funny to make bomb threats, we're hopefully going to put them in jail.
Supporting her, and she's a kind, generous person. So she's the type of person that would, make sure that everybody got off the floor with her and helping them out.
Tell me about, have people banded together? Obviously, there are hundreds of families.
Were produced. And the worst case fear tonight is that they were trying to do it again. That is, repeat some of what was pulled off on Tuesday, and everyone is hoping that is not the case.
Closed. The West Side Highway, where you're seeing.
And pray that soon they will get an answer. Until then, they will have to keep looking here in this city of lost and found.
Do you still have...
They're just standing around, then every once in a while they'll jump.
If you need support,
So really the primary focus
has been.
Midtown with more on the air quality issue. Joe.
Mary and Marvin, of course, we've seen, if we've been outside at all today, a lot of folks, especially in lower Manhattan, walking with masks on.
Back on America. And now, Tom Brokaw.
The investment together?
No, I would say we have both.
The chief of pulmonary and critical care at Beth Israel Medical Center, and he showed us the different kinds of masks and how much protection those particular masks can give. Here's his report now.
We have a variety of masks here that are really in increasing order of effectiveness in terms of blocking out smaller and smaller particles. They are also increasingly more difficult to breathe through because there's a little more work that's involved in terms of breathing through these filters. This mask is a typical operating room mask which really fits rather loosely to the face. And
yes, a number of rescuers are on the job, are doing an incredible job out there, but they pulled several people from the...
Living with 33-year-old Mohammed Atta, another suspected suicide pilot. After both earned the...
Have you? Absolutely. I mean, nobody can go to work. We can't leave because the train station, the closest one we hear is 34th Street, which is pretty far away from us, and she feels the intensity.
NATO could respond to it as
particle is, the more it can
show. An airline issued receipt and said, oh, you know what, everything's fine, don't worry. He was trying to calm her down. Stay calm, I love you so much, don't worry about me, I'll be okay. And then they hung up, and then as soon as about 50 seconds later, the other airplane hit. We saw it on the news.
That must have been, so you were sitting with your sister as the second airplane hit.
Basically, I was downtown on Church, and I saw the whole thing happen. So when I saw that second tower get struck, I ran back inside, and I called her on the phone, and I said, call him, call him, call him, and it was too late. So if anybody has any information about Karen Motrera, please, it is so painful for us. Please call 212-865-3365. Please, if anybody saw him either in his last moments or if they know that he's alive, we're desperate. Everyone's desperate for information. Thank you so much.
I know that families today have been at the Armory, they've been at hospitals. Tell me, for the past 2 days, where have you been? What have you done?
We've been to every single hospital. We've been to Beekman, Cabrini, St. Vincent.
Blue are here with us this evening. Shifting it over to another area, the side of Manhattan.
He had little difficulty taking it right on into Tower 1. Only a simulation, but chilling.
You might actually be able to do a practice run just like we did.
Veteran commercial airline pilot Alex Garmendia using the program for the first time today. He says after hours on this software, a novice pilot without experience in a jet would still lack the skills to do much of the controls.
But it surely shows you the cockpit layout.
In FBI custody tonight, Anand Bukhari, a material witness reportedly cooperated.
I can't deal with it right now because it's like we haven't heard anything from her.
What's her name, Milagros?
Carmen Rivera.
Carmen?
She works for Fiduciary Trust.
Another one of them.
We're saying, there's a big difference between...
Now when they look to Washington and even today, the building behind...
We've been attempting to extradite this guy.
People outside
of not...
And there were police sort of around me yelling at people, telling them to get out. And I would ask them what floor they were coming from, what floor are they coming from. Someone would say 55, and I'd scream, we have 55, and because I kept wanting to get up the building and get people out of the building.
Because all your employees were on?
101 to 105, the top floors of number 1 World Trade Center, which they call now the North Tower.
So how high was the highest number that you got to?
I got to the 91st floor, and I knew if I got one employee, if one person came down from that floor, then I know that there had to be others. There would be others behind them. There would be others going out other doors that would be good. But I got up to 91, and then I heard this sound. It sounded like another plane was going to hit the building, but it didn't sound like it was far away. It sounded like it was like right where the ceiling is above us. It was so unbelievably loud, and someone screamed out, "Another one's coming!" So I just turned around and ran, and I was running.
What was it?
it was number 2 World Trade Center collapsing. So I'm standing underneath a building like an idiot, and I start running, and I'm trying to get ahead of the smoke, and then the smoke comes around the corner on Trinity Church where I ran and knocks me down underneath a truck, and I'm sitting there in this black, the blackest black that can ever be. I reached up, I tried to see if I could see it, I took my hands and I put it up and I actually touched my eye, and it was so much smoke and I wasn't smart enough.
You couldn't even see your own hand?
I couldn't see my hand. I could feel the particles in the air. They were like this big. I could feel them going in, and I couldn't think to like pick up my shirt and put it. I was just sitting there thinking, I can't believe it. I can't believe by standing there I died. So I just start walking straight. And I just walk straight. And I just keep walking straight. And I called my wife 4 hours later. And she was hysterical crying. And so I understand why it took lots of people a long time. I'm a pretty together person, and 4 hours I just walked north. I just kept walking.
One of your other offices had a squawk box open, and the other offices were able to hear the screams. Is that true?
I don't know that they heard. It is true that we have a squawk box. Yeah, we have a speakerphone because all our offices are connected in our equity business. They're all connected to each other because they talk to each other all day, and they heard them saying, we need help, we need help, we need help. It wasn't screams. There was nowhere to go. You couldn't go down, you couldn't go up. There was nowhere to go. But I don't know.
The same flight, Lauren Grancolis, on her way home to San Francisco from her grandmother's funeral in New Jersey, was able to reach her husband, Jack. "We have been hijacked," she told him. "They are being kind. I love you." Flight attendant C.C. Ross of Fort Myers, Florida, put through a panicked call to her husband, Lauren Lyles, who had just gotten their 2 sons off to school. He heard screams in the background as she told him, "We've been hijacked. I love you. I love the children." Still on Flight 93, Thomas Burnett called his wife Dina and told her of a final act of resistance to terror. "I know we're all going to die. There's 3 of us who are going to do something about it," he said. Flight 93 was the only plane that didn't reach its target, crashing into an empty field in southern Pennsylvania. Peter Hansen of Groton, Massachusetts, was aboard United Flight 175 with his wife and their 3-year-old daughter as it left Boston for Los Angeles. He reached his father in Connecticut. Hansen told his parents he knew they were all going to die, but he tried to reassure them. "Don't worry about us. It's going to be quick," Hansen told his father. United Flight 175 was the second plane to crash into the World Trade Center. Fox News commentator Barbara Olson was aboard American Airlines Flight 77 as it left Washington for Los Angeles. She was able to place 2 calls to her husband, Theodore Olson, the U.S. Solicitor General. "Our plane is being hijacked." She then asked, "What should I tell the pilot?" The call was cut off, but she immediately called back to ask again, "What should I tell the pilot?" Those were her final words, as minutes later, American Flight 77 became a massive missile and crashed into the Pentagon. Steve Brown, Fox News.
So many heroes. There were so many heroes, especially up in the air. Penny Crone now is on the ground, near ground zero right now. Penny, what's going on?
Rosanna, we heard about those 5 firefighters today that were in the SUV that were...
I was looking at the pictures that these people were holding up. They were holding their Bulgaria.
What happened was... 39 years old. What happened? What's going on, Evelyn?
Well, my brother's...
Business. Today, the remaining employees of Cantor Fitzgerald and Eastbeat have worked every second.
I wear my bandana because it represents...
And mourn with the rest of the world for the next couple, 3 days.
Patriotic. That's the only right thing to do.
The terrorist attack on the world...
In foreign aid, which is highly misguided thing that...
Pursue those people who committed this act.
Congressman Gephardt, are there any...
If indeed there is evidence that a foreign state orchestrated and ordered an attack upon the United States, then clearly that is an act of war.
And you can go at it again?
Harboring. Is harboring an act of war?
Yeah, well, We're right here with a couple of construction workers who just left. First, we're going to get the latest on what's happening. Ben Alicia, who is a contractor from the Bronx, here on his own time doing 12-hour shifts. They told you to take a break while they get the heavy stuff out, right?
Yes, they sent only the iron workers inside for now, and they only have the fire department working as of now. They don't want anybody in there at all because it's under clutter, and they're also worried about all of the debris, and they're worried about the iron itself and the steel. They're cutting, they're welding, they have guys in there with settling torches just cutting away and taking away large pieces. Since everyone else has dug so deep, now it's become unstable. So they want to get the steel out of the way before, God forbid, it happens to come down anyone digging below.
Ben, that paints a nice picture for us. It gives us a better idea what we're seeing up there. We see all the acetylene work. Ben is working with Juan.
Now 3 days after the incident.
Well, it was a pretty rough time for them, but especially for the individual who was doing the controlling, doing the handling of the aircraft. I have to tell you, I did not speak with that individual. The individuals I spoke with, however, were intimately familiar with all that transpired in that room, and they know that that controller lived, as I was told, he lived the situation. He was hearing the whole thing through his headphones. One of the most significant things he heard, and one of the reasons we know that the pilot probably was the one flying the plane, is that the pilot repeatedly pushed a push-to-talk button, a special feature that allows every sound in the cockpit to be heard. And he did this repeatedly throughout at least 10 minutes of the flight south.
So there is a record of that at some point, we hope.
Well, that's exactly right. One of the things the controllers pointed out to me is that if the terrorists were adept enough technically to switch off the transponder, it is possible that they might have disabled the the cockpit voice recorder by pulling the fuse box out, or pulling the fuse out of the fuse box. Apparently that can be done, they believed, and so they think that this taped record may be the only record if the box is even found.
All right, thanks very much, Mark Clayton of the Christian Science Monitor, who has been interviewing air traffic control.
Newsroom, Charlie Gargano is the chairman of the...
Raised up about this on the theory.
This is a special guy.
I mean, I know you're not a technical guy, but, you know, Shea Stadium is located with...
Civil liberties in this country.
People carrying box cutters.
Emotions on both sides, people who are angry, people who have ideas, and people
who has
need the support, certainly, but also need some good news, and hopefully they'll get that really soon. Amy Nuzzo has been out for us in Staten Island at Bull's Head and getting a reaction from some of the neighbors out there and getting a feeling of how they're reacting to all of that's been going on. Amy?
Well, this has been much of the scene on Staten Island. Families, children, neighbors communing in the streets, sharing stories about loved ones and friends who never returned home after Tuesday, and it seems
full time that lower might go number.
Relative on just about every block. After searching the rubble for his fallen comrades for 2 days, retired Fire Lieutenant Andy Scalera returned to his home in Bull's Head today with photographs of hell on earth and a raging fire in his heart.
Almost 400 of my brothers are unaccounted for. And I don't know what's taken this country so long to show us, not only the American people, the city of New York and the people of New York, who are facing so much tragedies and the atrocities that were born against us. Why isn't there some kind of retaliation?
Staten Island is in agony, in mourning, and in waiting for moms, dads, and neighbors that never came home after Tuesday morning's commute.
Her name is Denise Benedetto. She's 41 years old. It's my mother.
This morning, full-blown paranoia set in as the search for terror suspects shifted to Staten Island. All Staten Island bridges were closed for 2 hours. Authorities stopping and searching cars throughout the borough all day. Children who showed up at St. Rita's School in Manor Heights were sent home, and that's where countless parents kept their children today, regardless of whether their school was open.
I just feel better having them home with me. I know they're safe home with me, and I don't know if the school would be a target.
The Red Cross here has been flooded with donations of supplies and money and volunteers. Many, it seems, are finding an emotional anchor in the American flag and demonstrations of pride and support for a mighty but wounded nation that now will have to rebuild.
I just got this flag and I can't wait to put it up. And I just want to give best wishes to everybody and stay together. We're going to make it.
Now I want to show you something here. This is a flyer, almost like a chain letter. Thousands of these have been passed out all around Staten Island today, calling for a candlelight vigil at 10:30 tonight. Not in any one location, but everyone is to go out on their doorstep and light a candle as a show of unity at 10:30 tonight. And it's amazing how these flyers have circulated. Children will grab one flyer, go to a Kinko's, make hundreds of copies, pass those out. Someone will take one of those copies, make hundreds of copies of their own, pass those out. We've been all around the borough today, and so many people have come up to us with this flyer saying, have you got one? So we do expect a lot of people to be out on their doorsteps with a candle tonight all around Staten Island, and we'll bring you that vigil when it happens later on. I'm Amy Nuzzo reporting live from Bull's Head. Back to you.
Thank you so powerful much, to see
Amy.
those pictures and to see that effort.
And we want to show you some of the faces of the beautiful, beautiful people who are missing right now. We're just going to let the pictures kind of roll. Sometimes you don't need to talk. It's just nice to be quiet and look at the pictures. Beautiful people.
Absolutely. A little earlier tonight, Hazel Sanchez was at a vigil, and these people were holding up photographs of their loved ones, a brother, a sister, a cousin, a husband, a wife.
Beautiful people.
The quietness after an incredible storm for the past 3 days here in New York City.
It is just so hard not to get emotional about this. Todd McDermott has more now on the number of people who have perished. Todd?
Angela, Ernie, these are the very sad numbers we have to report to you so far. Hopefully none of the faces you saw there will be part of these numbers other than being missing. The latest death toll in New York City, the official death toll now, is at 184 people. That's 184 people. At the Pentagon, the official death toll is 126 people. 126 people at the Pentagon. Those are the people who are inside the building. 70 bodies have been recovered at the Pentagon so far. Again, they are still trying to get through the rubble there. So we move on here and look at more numbers. Passengers and crew, this is a number we have had for quite some time. Passengers and crew is at 266 people on those 4 doomed flights. The injured now number more than 2,000. The number is estimated at 2,300 injured people being treated at some of New York's more than 100 hospitals. Among those, more than 300 firefighters and New York City police officers. And then there are the missing. That number has been steady today. It stands at 4,763. Again, these numbers may be updated. That has been the number we have had through the day. To give you just a little perspective on the numbers, added up, it is over 5,000 people. And there is the scene. At Pearl Harbor, 2,390 Americans died almost 60 years ago. When the Titanic sank, 1,500 people perished. What has happened here in New York and in Washington this week will outstrip both those tragedies if these numbers hold. Angela, Ernie.
Todd, thank you. You know, this is very overwhelming for everyone, whether you have someone missing or not. And I would just personally like to encourage you, if you don't have someone, you can talk to a psychologist or psychiatrist, your minister, or just a friend. The American Red Cross certainly has extended an invitation for any of us to give them a call, because this is psychologically very wearing on all of us. So please talk about it with someone.
Mayor Giuliani has been trying to give us all that kind of support, as many leaders who have been coming.
And sisters. There's Engine 54 on 48th Street in Manhattan. The pride of Midtown, it's known as. 14 members were on duty Tuesday. 14 have not yet returned.
We haven't lost anybody yet. We're missing 14 members from this house. 14.
Neighbors had no choice in the matter. The evacuation notice came suddenly. The buses were already waiting downstairs. When Kaduko was told to leave her apartment, she didn't quite get it. So that's why she took nothing with her. Most of her neighbors took the first things that came to mind.
Wherever I go, this goes with me.
Wherever you go, this goes with you.
That's Sonny Rollins, one of the top jazz saxophonists in the world.
These residents of 310 Greenwich Street found out just moments ago, as they were getting on the bus, the location of the shelter they're being taken to. What happens once they get there, they have no idea. Kaduko says she has no family. She'll try to contact a friend later tonight.
Could you let us know back here where we're going?
Maybe this is a pocket.
Hello, I'm just as afraid as you are.
Hold on, there you go. When they unboard at the shelter, some neighbors disperse, going to stay with friends and family.
That's okay.
Others, including Kaduko, will sleep in the shelter.
Downtown and the rescue workers, and throughout the day there have been these trucks going down.
And again, just another day.
Obviously, there are not U.S. Marshals on every single flight.
Ahead.
We're hopeful that we won't lose more than another couple.
And doctors say the first days with these patients is spent just making sure their vital organs are stable.
So they can't even start surgery.
Not
yet.
really.
What is the surgery like when they do?
Unfortunately, what's so horrible is that because these victims are so severe.
Live tonight, Larry is joined by Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld.
Hour of coverage now. NBC News Live continuing coverage of the terrorist attack.
September the 11th, 2001 was a day of unspeakable violence and outrage, but also a day of heroism and sacrifice.
It was a war zone. It was just unbelievable.
I thought I would die. I really thought I would die.
America is in a state of war, and the response to a state of war is a declaration of war.
We spoke to him right after the first plane hit, and he wouldn't leave his friend.
This was an enormous catastrophe. This was an enormous attack against the people of the United States, and I would say all the people of the world who love and honor civilization and humanity.
I'm not gonna leave until we find him. We just want answers, just something.
Now's an opportunity to do generations a favor by coming together and whipping terrorism.
6 p.m. on the East Coast, and as we begin our hour here, the 9 o'clock hour, this is the news at the top of the hour. The president today had much to say about this, including getting quite emotional in the Oval Office. He called this the first war of the 21st century. He announced today that he will visit New York and assess the damage tomorrow. He requested that all Americans tomorrow on their lunch hour visit a house of worship and pray for the wounded, the dead, and their country. And as we mentioned, he's been separated from the vice president. Attorney General John Ashcroft at a briefing today said there have been thousands of leads. They've identified 8.
This is continuing CBS News coverage of the attack on America. Dan Rather with Ed Bradley at CBS News World Headquarters in New York. Here are the headlines at this hour. As the search goes through another night in the shattered World Trade Center in New York City and at the Pentagon in Washington. The confirmed death toll is now nearing 500, but it's feared the final count could top 5,000. The flight data recorder from one of the 4 jets hijacked Tuesday has been recovered, and searchers at the Pentagon are working their way toward another. Investigators say they have identified the hijackers and that they have pictures of all of those in the planes. The Pentagon says it's planning sustained military action against the terrorists and those who support them. Defense officials want to call up as many as 50,000 reserve troops to active duty, possibly soon. Secretary of State Powell named renegade Saudi millionaire Osama bin Laden by name as a, quote, prime suspect. The United States has asked Pakistan to close its border, seal it off with Afghanistan, whose Taliban leaders protect bin Laden. And President Bush declared the United States will lead the world to victory over terrorism. In Lower Manhattan this day, hope went head-to-head with grim reality. Scott Pelley reports on search and rescue at Ground Zero. Scott?
Dan, at one point today, just
for Tommy Houlihan and the other 3 men from Engine Company 6 goes on. A family, a band of brothers and sisters, now broken.
Dateline's Dawn Fratangelo tonight on the firefighters of the city, and already there is an effort underway to raise a fund for the orphans and the widows of those firemen and policemen who have been lost in this rescue effort. It's a little after 9 Eastern Time now on the 3rd day of this war on terrorism. We have an update on the latest developments tonight. New York police say that 7 people have been detained at New York City airports for questioning about the hijacking and as a result of that questioning, all 3 major airports in the New York City area now have been closed. Government sources say there is now overwhelming evidence that Osama bin Laden is the mastermind responsible for these terrorist attacks. Investigators have found the black box flight recorder from the plane that was crashed into the ground in Pennsylvania. They've detected a signal from the recorder in the Pentagon crash, they believe. The Pentagon is saying tonight that the United States will launch what is being described as sustained military strikes against those behind these terrorist attacks. Officials say they are considering calling up the military reserves for the first time since the Gulf War. Former President Bill Clinton was in Australia when all of this happened. His wife, of course, is the junior senator from New York. The president was rushed back to the United States, and today NBC News cameras caught up with him for his reaction.
We have to improve our defenses, and we have to let people know that there will be a strong sanction for this. And I believe America, if we stay together, if the people will stay together and keep their spirits strong, I believe the president will find out what happened. I think they'll do the right thing.
This is
President Clinton, if you were...
So please get ready to write them down.
God bless you both.
All right, thank you, Sal.
Thank you.
And God bless you too, and our hearts go out to you.
Don't
Nick,
you feel like your hands are behind your back?
you,
when
you feel helpless. You know, you just feel you want to do so much, but you just feel helpless. Nick Gregory has joined us now, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the weather coming our way and what effect that might have on the search and rescue operations.
Hopefully that rain is out of here. And tell us that it's not in the area.
I wish I could. It's getting
3 minutes later, freed the other. Obviously a situation that could have gotten much worse, but in the end did not end to this tragedy. They will work through the night.
And you'll see that area is off to our north and west. One band.
Tough thing to see, and the next man, our next guest, has a very tough job. The director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Joe Albaugh, has been kind enough to join us from New York tonight. I say kind enough because he's got a big job. He is preparing for the president's visit tomorrow. Joe, thanks for coming up.
Anytime, in any place, using any technique. It's not possible to defend it.
Temperature problems, dehydration, and we're still seeing some crush injuries. Now, you had a team.
And she looked to see if she could find anybody.
Manhattan, Jim Dolan, ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
Jim, do you know if these workers have adequate rain gear out there?
Sustained military.
Thank you very much.
You know, all day our colleague Barbara Nevins-Taylor has been reporting from Lower Manhattan. She's been talking about prayer and God and patriotism, and I think the only thing we've left out is motherhood and apple pie, Barbara.
Hi, Roland and Brenda. I'm here with Gary McAllister, who is a counselor and has been doing what he calls clergy work down at
What could that mean? And we'll likely see the rain through about midday tomorrow. So that, again, it's this good-bad scenario as far as cleaning things up a little bit, but also creating more problems, of course, for the rescuers, and then we'll look forward to a dry spell of weather.
All right, let me just switch gears here. Now, you're not only a meteorologist, you're also a pilot. We're just now getting word out of Washington that 190 people were killed in the Pentagon attack, the plane that crashed in the Pentagon. 74 of them soldiers. The Army suffered the worst. But they have gotten a signal from the black box, the flight recorder.
The massive metal.
Find on that flight recorder.
Well, that's a good sign that they're getting the signal.
People desperate for their loved ones. I think for all of us.
Of course, the most heart-wrenching stories remain the family members of the missing. They have gathered all day at the Armory on the east side.
Governor Pataki visited the family members earlier this
board were working, but what you're in this particular case, what the investigators are really going to want to find will be the cockpit voice recorder tapes.
Does that also put out a signal as to where?
That also does put out a separate signal. There are two separate boxes, and the cockpit voice recorder, of course, is going to be the one that will provide information.
I'm from all around the country. I'm standing here and watching signs on the sides of.
And so we will probably get higher readings as we get closer into ground zero. But it's all, you can take precautions and they will protect you. And for the general population, we have sampled in New Jersey, we've sampled in Brooklyn, we're sampling within a 10-block area, watching the plume, and it is not an immediate health threat. Unless, of course, if someone has.
And did they do that?
Well, there is.
Tuesday?
They didn't have the chance. It looks like there is something they can do.
Over Manhattan.
What concern is there about the?
And it is not unusual.
Well, we've been asked to sample for a whole bunch of different stuff, so I don't know that there's any particular concern other than they want to know exactly what there is there. So we'll try to determine that for them.
They want to know what these guys have been breathing for the last 2 days.
Right.
Asbestos, any number of hazardous kinds of materials.
Asbestos is one of the concerns. You'll have to excuse me, I got to kind of get dressed.
It's all right, keep going. That dust has become a kind of message board. Residents who live here are sending wishes to firemen they will never meet or know. Many are leaving these notes on their way uptown, evacuating for who knows how long. Refugees in a city that they no longer recognize.
Will never be the same. Everybody's devastated down here. It's people just walking around with like these empty looks on their faces. I feel terrible for all those people that died.
This city so famous for
every single person
to the facilities.
All right, thanks, Nick.
expressing the sentiment of many Americans. This song was played after a moment of silence on Long Island's Walk Radio Breakfast Club with Mark Daniels and Cindy.
I see all the American flags hanging out in front of people's houses. People are really standing up and supporting this country.
So they're calling in not because we're separate entities on the radio, but because, you know, we're all kind of a family. And they're telling us how they feel, and we're giving them suggestions for how to feel better. And
Michelle Didio has 2 flags flying in front of her house. Her brother is a New York City fireman working on the disaster.
I'm patriotic every day, but I think right now what's going on, people need to stick together.
I pledge allegiance to the flag.
Children at Emmanuel Lutheran School are saluting the flag during an afternoon gathering.
That's what we're looking at right now, the freedom that we fought for and that God has granted us with.
American flags are being sold in record numbers. Here at Bargain Bilge, the store manager says they can't get enough of them.
We're out of most of our sizes. We only have maybe 20 flags left in the store.
Across America, flags are flying high in support of our country, and we're all proud to be Americans. In Patchogue, Ken Grimble, News 12, Long Island.
All your work. Please be safe. Please be safe. Thank you. You're real heroes in my book, and in the rest of America's hearts too. God bless you. God bless you. Take care. Hey, thanks for being here. Where'd you come? Oh, you're in New York City. Stream Fire Department. Oh yeah. God bless you. God bless you. Be safe. All right. Hey, thank you. All right. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for all your work. Thanks for coming. Really.